You know, people, I have a number one rule. I don't see comedies in theaters. You know why? It's bad enough seeing a bad movie in theaters. It's much worse seeing a bad comedy. There's so many times you can sit there and say, that's not funny. That's not funny. And you know what? That's exactly the perfect description for Mortdecai. That's Mortdecai in a nutshell. It's not funny. It's a bad, shallow, unevenly paced comedy. This movie's bad. I had low expectations seeing this movie. The trailers did not excite me whatsoever. The trailers showed me what it was. And I was right. It's a bad comedy. Every other stereotypical bad comedy. Johnny Depp in this movie, you might say, oh, I'll go to see this movie for Johnny Depp. Don't. He basically phones us in. This is like any other Johnny Depp performance in a movie. Any other cartoonish, over-the-top performance. It just seems like he phones in nowadays in these roles. He just does it for the paycheck. It's just, and these actors, Ian McGregor, Gwyneth Paltrow, it seems like some of these actors were casted just to pull you in to see the movie. Because these actors shouldn't be in here. Ian McGregor, wasting this movie. I'm not a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, but even I gotta admit, she's wasting this movie. It just seems like they hired them just to pull you in to see this. The story's weak, which I understand. Comedies are not meant for the stories. It's meant for what? Laughs. Entertainment. But the movie is neither funny nor entertaining, and it has a terrible story. It's a bore fest. This movie is a bore fest. I zoned out a few times this movie. I chuckled maybe 3 or 4 times this movie. 3 or 4 times. Chuckled. But still, this movie is just bad. This is a bad movie. And the trailers are sort of misleading. The trailers made it sound like he is in America, which I got behind. I thought that was the main concept. A British, eccentric British type persona goes to America. Fish out water type thing. Okay, I can go with that. He doesn't arrive to America until the second half of the movie. And that's when, the funny thing is, that's when the movie got a little interesting. A little entertaining. When the first half of the movie was when he's all shacking around and mumbling around in England and whatnot, it's not entertaining, it's boring. But when he goes to America, that's when it gets sort of entertaining. But by then, it's too late. It's too late. You know what? As much crap I'm giving this movie, I admit, there's 2 things that keep this movie from being completely a snorefest. Paul Bettany, and him and Johnny Depp's chemistry in the movie. If it weren't for those 2 things, I probably would have fallen asleep in this movie. I broke my number 1 rule, people. I broke my number 1 rule, and this is what happens. The last comedy movie I saw was Delivery Day or Bad Delivery. That one movie with Zach Galifianakis, Rob De Niro. That road trip movie they did together. That was the last movie, and that was a bad comedy. That was the last comedy movie I saw. This is terrible. I'm going to say this right now. If you're curious about seeing this, don't. If you're curious, don't see it in theaters. Redbox it. Redbox it. Spend $1 or $2, watch it for a day, because if you rent at Redbox, you can start the movie, you could easily just turn it off halfway through and take it back because you weren't satisfied with it. You have the luxury of doing that. Me, I had to sit there for an hour and 47 minutes of complete and utter boredom. I don't walk out of theaters. I never did. I don't walk out of theaters. If I spend money on a movie in theaters, I will see it to the end, no matter how painful it was. And boy, was that painful. The last bad movie I saw in theaters, which I was so close to leaving, was when I saw Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's sequel to Halloween 2, his version. That movie, I was this close of walking out of theaters, but I didn't. I stuck through with it to the end, because I don't walk out in theaters. Mortdecai, I got really close of wanting to leave, because this movie was bad. So overall, a disastrous, stereotypical bad comedy movie. It's a waste of time. Don't see it. Don't bother with it. Like I said before, Redbox it. But grade-wise, rating, I'm giving it a D. I'm giving it a D. It would have been a D- or an F if it weren't for Paul Bettany. He makes this movie a tiny bit more entertaining. He is. He is the star of the movie. He's the focal point that draws your attention. If it weren't for that, I would have given it a D- or F. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this movie was in my top 5 list for worst movies of 2015. And I am going to do a list in December towards January. I'm going to do a list of best movies and worst. I can foresee this being in the top 5 of my worst movies of 2015. This is a good time, a good chance to be in my top 5 list. So yeah, movie is terrible. I broke my rule and I learned from it. I am not watching another comedy movie in theaters. Never again. I learned my lesson. No more. Never. Don't compromise. I'm not compromising. Never again. So that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you guys like this movie, that's fine. If you like this movie, it's fine. That's your opinion. However, I don't like the movie. So, that's it. Review done. I just wasted $18. I spent $9 per ticket to see this. And I felt like I got cheated. I feel dirty for buying this. Excuse me now, I'm going to go cry. God, what a god-awful movie.